there isn't a discernible weakness on their team. All right, welcome to the Albert Breer Report for November the 7th. Week 10 is here. Kicked off last night with Thursday Night Football, and that's where we will start. But with the Broncos moving now to 8-2, they win an ugly one over the Las Vegas Raiders. And the question now going forward with the Chiefs on tap next and what's going to be a titanic AFC West game in Week 11, whether or not the way the Broncos are playing is sustainable. And as we get into bigger games as the season goes on, are they going to be able to keep winning the way that they have been winning? Now, to their credit, again, they're 8-2. You are what your record says you are. And Sean Payton said it last night. It's exactly what the Broncos are right now. Their two losses are not bad losses. They lost by the skin of their teeth to the Los Angeles Chargers on a hero play by Justin Herbert. And then they lost the Indianapolis Colts. You guys remember the leverage penalty. If it weren't for that leverage penalty, now they're 9-1. If it weren't for the Justin Herbert play, maybe they're 10-0. I know we can do that with some of their wins as well. So you balance that out a little bit. But at 8-2, they have a lot of things going for them. They've got an incredibly strong defense. They can run the ball. There isn't a discernible weakness on their team. The question is whether or not they're going to be able to keep up with some of the more high-powered teams in the AFC down the stretch of the year and then into the playoffs with the way that they're playing offense, because it's a really old school style of play. They're 15th in the league right now in total offense. And if you really drill down on Bo Nix specifically, he's 29th in the NFL in completion percentage. He's 21st in the NFL in yards per game. And he's 28th in the NFL in passer rating. That, is not great. That tells you right now that he's playing a quarterback at a below average level, if you're talking about where the NFL average is. Now, you juxtapose that with the fact that he has made a lot of key plays over the course of time. I think there was no better example of that than in that New York Giants game when he made the huge throws down the stretch of that game to Sutton and Mims. We've seen him, over and over again perform in the biggest of spots. He had a huge run last week against the Texans to win that one. He did make plays down the stretch against the Raiders. But will this be good enough? And can they play from behind? And can they play if they're behind the sticks? And can they play on somebody else's terms? I think a lot of those questions are still unanswered. Bo Nix has been a playoff quarterback before. He was there last year. The Broncos actually put up a pretty good fight against the Bills in the wild card round based on where they were from a team building standpoint. And again, this is a team that's ready to win right now. Sean Payton's third year, Bo Nix's second year. So can Bo Nix elevate his level of play? Can the Broncos offense elevate its level of play to match what they're doing on defense? Again, not very many holes on the team, but if they get into a certain style of game, the question would be whether or not they'd be able to sustain and keep up with some of the more higher powered offenses in the NFL. We should get a good litmus test of that in Week 11 when they play against the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, another big matchup on tap for Week 11 or Week 10 is the 7-2 New England Patriots going to visit the 6-2 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And to me, this is a great test for where both teams are at. The Buccaneers, over the course of the year have been clutch. They've played their best at the end of games. And I think they're a little more battle-tested right now, facing who they faced over the course of the year. They face the Lions. They face the Eagles. This is a team that's had big games over the course of the first 2 months of the season. If they were to lose this one, I don't think we would think less of them. This, to me, is just another big game and a list of them for the Buccaneers. For the Patriots, a little bit different. The Patriots have won 6 games in a row, but they've taken advantage of what's a pretty soft schedule. And yes, they did beat Buffalo, but there's also a win against the Titans in there. There's also a win against the Browns in there. And after this one, they play the Jets. And so to me, this is really the proving game for where New England is at. They played a better team last week than they'd been playing over the last few weeks in the Atlanta Falcons, and the Falcons really challenged them. And you could say if the Falcons hadn't screwed a few things up in the fourth quarter, maybe that game goes a little bit different. So this is a good, I'd say, measuring stick from where Mike Vrabel's program is in year one, a good measuring stick for where Drake May is in his second year, playing against a defense that's going to throw the kitchen sink at him. I'm going to be really interested to see what happens in that one, New England Patriots against the Buccaneers. That's in the early window on Sunday. And then in the late window, we get a renewal of one of the NFL's best rivalries. It's the Rams. It's the Niners. The Rams coming in at 6-2. The Niners coming in at 6-3. And I love everything about this matchup. I love the coaching matchup. I like the quarterback matchup here. You've got Matthew Stafford, who's playing at an MVP level. Go check out my midseason executive poll. The executives across the NFL voted him the NFL's MVP through 9 weeks. And then on the other side, you've got Mac Jones, who's undergone a career revival under the coach who maybe should have taken him back in 2021 with a 3rd overall pick in Kyle Shanahan. So love the quarterback matchup there. I love the coaching matchup too. Kyle Shanahan versus Sean McVay. Really, these guys have affected each other over the near decade that they've been in the division together. Of course, those two old friends, they served together on those Washington staffs under Kyle's dad, Mike. And I think you're seeing some elements of the influence that Kyle Shanahan's Niners teams have had on the Rams now in the way that Sean McVay's built this Rams team. This is a different looking Rams team. It's built through the lines of scrimmage. It's rugged. You know about their defensive front, what they're able to bring to the table with Byron Young and Kobe Turner and, of course, Jared Verse and Braden Fisk. So we know what they've got up front on the defensive side of the ball. And then on offense, they've leaned into Blake Corum and Kyron Williams in that running game. And I think a huge part of that, a huge part of building their team that way, has been how the Niners used to beat them up, how the Niners used to be able to out-physical them. You even saw it in training camp in the way that Sean McVay's been running their training camps over the last couple of years. And so this is a good test for where all of that is for the Rams. And then for the Niners, this again is like, how far can we take this, right? Like, so you look at all the injuries they have. Ayuk's still not back yet. Nick Bosa's down for the year. Fred Warner's down for the year. They've been cycling through player after player after player. They've had to bring guys in, Sky Moore and Kendrick Bourne playing major snaps at receiver. They've had to rely on rookies. Now they've lost their rookie first-round pick, Mikael Williams, at defensive end. They've had to make it work, and they've done a fantastic job making it work. Now let's see what they can do in a big spot with this team of replacements. Let's see if they can level up and find a way to beat the Rams in Los Angeles. Can't wait for that one. Appreciate you guys coming out as always. You can leave your comments down below on YouTube, or you can get to me on social media at Albert Breer on Twitter, at Albert R. Breer on Facebook, at Albert_Breer on Instagram. Enjoy the weekend, everybody. We'll be recapping Week 10 on Tuesday morning.